If you've been posting on LinkedIn and hoping for leads to just magically show up in your inbox, only to get a few likes on one message on each post, this video is for you. It's going to show you how to essentially hack the algorithm to make sure it feeds your posts to as many people and as many buyers within your ICP as physically possible. I'm going to break down first why you shouldn't rely on inbound alone, and a better system to actually approach LinkedIn for consistent and predictable leads. And then I'm going to go over how we consistently generate inbound leads with what we call lead magnets. And like I said, it's essentially hacking the algorithm, forcing it to push our posts to as many people as physically possible. For a little context here, I've written LinkedIn posts for over 50 B2B founders at this point, gone viral many times, multiple 200, 300K impression posts. That is my sort of social proof. First, before we even get into how to make a post go viral, I'm going to go over why you shouldn't even rely on posts going viral, or why you shouldn't rely on getting inbound leads. Because the honest truth is, inbound is great and it's amazing when it works, when you can just write content, press publish, and then have inbound buyers start raising their hands saying, hey, I want your service. That's every B2B owner's business's dream, is to just post content, post words, and have people come to them. But the honest truth is 99% of businesses that scale on LinkedIn are not just solely relying on their posts. And that's because inbound content depends mostly on time spent, luck, and honestly the algorithm. It's not even in your hands. The ideal prospect might scroll right past your post while maybe getting a coffee, and now that lead is gone. And that's why so many creators burn out, is because they start posting on LinkedIn for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then that turns into 3 months. They haven't gotten one lead, and they think, okay, LinkedIn doesn't work because my posts haven't been driving inbound leads. And that's just not true. They're just relying too heavily on inbound to build pipeline, and that's just not how LinkedIn works. The better system is content plus DMs, because content, it's awesome. I'm not saying you shouldn't post content, because content is there to build trust, not just drive inbound leads. DMs are where we drive the consistency. One plants the seed, the other actually closes the deal. So content, planting the seeds, building trust with your expertise, your opinions, your case studies, etc. And then DMs are what's actually getting into your prospects' inboxes, getting their attention, getting their eyes on your content, and then converting them from there. And when you know how to use both together, you can create crazy momentum by design. And at my agency, we're booking dozens of calls each month exactly with this flow, with content, 5 posts a week on LinkedIn, as well as DMs to our connection requests, our new followers, our new likers, our new commenters, and our new profile viewers. So that's honestly been the biggest unlock for us, is actually using DMs and content. But you're here to learn how to actually go viral on LinkedIn, how to get those inbound leads, because DMs are awesome, but not everyone has time to it. So leveraging what we call lead magnets can be very powerful to actually, like I said, sort of hack the algorithm, overtake it to force it to feed your posts to more people within your audience. So lead magnets, what are they? Essentially, they are the best way to get your ideal client to raise their hand asking for your service. You're essentially giving away a free resource like a swipe file, a calculator, a database, or maybe even a private training in exchange for a like, comment, and connect. People want value, so they engage, and that value is free. And that's something we'll talk about later. If your resource isn't valuable, if it isn't worth at least $50 to $200, people aren't going to engage with it, and this is not going to work. So A, it has to be valuable, and B, it has to be for your ICP specifically, so that you have the right people raising their hand asking for your resource. From there, you're able to actually start conversations in the DMs. Once people raise their hand saying, hey, I want this resource, once they like, they comment, you can then reach out to them. You have to give them the resource, of course. And from there, you can actually start conversations in the DMs. But essentially, the whole viral aspect of this is the more people you get to comment, like, maybe even repost your lead magnet posts, the more LinkedIn feeds into that, because LinkedIn is inherently a social platform they want people engaging with your post, and they want to push the post that, spark the most amount of conversation. So when they see you have a bunch of comments, people saying, hey, I want this resource, that triggers LinkedIn, that triggers the algorithm saying, hey, people are liking this post, let's push it to more people. And then more people comment, and then pushes out to more people. So it's like an endless flywheel. The more people that comment, the more people that want your resource, the more the LinkedIn algorithm is going to push. And that's how you get these viral posts that get, 200, 300, 400,000 impressions, which easily can turn into 2, 3, 4 clients signed. I've seen it multiple times. And then just digging a little more into what makes lead magnet posts, besides the viral aspect, what makes them so valuable for booking calls. If you do it right, you're going to attract qualified leads. You're not going to just attract the average Joe. So let's say you're an email marketing agency and you're giving away a free swipe file of a bunch of winning email templates. That's going to attract only people who need those winning email templates. So you're not going to attract other freelancers, other agencies who are out of your ICP. You're going to attract e-commerce brands who need those email templates. They're going to raise your hand. And from there, you can once again have conversations with those people who are in your ICP. So if the more specific you can get with your resource, the better lead quality you're going to get, because the giveaway is specific to your niche. Second, they start warm conversations. So people are expecting a DM from you. If they're asking for the resource, you have to give it to them. They're expecting a DM. A lot of people, a lot of the reason DMs don't work is because you're just cold DMing. They don't know you. They don't trust you. They don't like you. They don't want you harassing them in your inbox. So in this case, they're expecting you to DM them. So it's not cold. They're inviting you. You're giving away free value. So you essentially have the green light to go DM them and start a conversation. Thirdly, they're scalable. You can have a VA handle the delivery if these go viral. There's no actual tool on LinkedIn, unfortunately, to help you automate this. On Twitter, there is Tweet Hunter. But if you have, you can go on Upwork, get a VA to help you send all of the initial messages with, a little question. And actually have it, so they're very scalable. And then lastly, they also build your brand. So you're not just, trying to get leads. You're not trying to go viral with this. Sure, that all is great, but these actually build your brand in a sense. You're giving away free valuable. And when people see these resources and they see, oh wow, this guy's offering these email templates for free, or this super in-depth guide for free, wow, he really they think, oh, he must really understand what he's doing. If he's giving this away for free, I wonder what his paid stuff is like. So these are big brand builders. The fact that you can give away something of value for completely free, that shows a lot of authority. That's kind of a testament to what your agency, your service can do. So yeah, that's a bunch of great things about lead magnets. Now let's talk about the anatomy of a high performing lead magnet post. This is really simple. If we look at this example post, we have our hook, our social proof, our value stack, our urgency CTA, and then a GIF. So all of these are super crucial to making these posts go viral. Hook, just following general LinkedIn principles. You want to use a lot of numbers, keep it short and tight within the LinkedIn window or above the see more fold. Following best practices there, and then contrasting it with making sure you're including the fact that it's a free giveaway in the hook. So an example is, we use these templates to generate X million dollars. I'm giving them away for free in the hook. So that's a great hook. And then right away, we use social proof. So we use these for XYZ brand. They generated millions, and now I'm using them to, do XYZ. So actually proving that these are worth something. And then the next section is stacking value. So you want to give them a little sneak peek into the guide, what they're going to get. So the way we do this is just literally dump everything that's in the actual lead magnet. The more value you can stack in this section, value stack section, the more perceived value is going to come from it. Because people, when they're getting a lot of value for free, even if it's a bunch of fluff, if it just looks, there's a lot in the resource, it'll do well. And then urgency CTA, drop a comment. This is only up for 24 hours, something like that. And then most important part of this, honestly, is the creative. You want to have at least some sort of picture just showing it off. Maybe you it's a GIF of you scrolling through the swipe file or the document or etc. A fast forward version of your video, super sped up version, something that just once again shows the perceived value, gives them a little sneak peek into what they're getting. And I kind of went over this already, but the backend flow of once the lead magnet is posted and starts to get some comments, you're going to send the lead magnet as promised, ask a qualifying question at the end of that. Like, hey, here's a resource. By the way, what are your ad CACs like right now? Or what are you guys doing with email right now? Or I'm running a quick poll on everyone who requested this. How much are you spending on ads right now? And people will answer those questions, and from there you can qualify them in book calls. So that's the most crucial part of this, is that you actually capitalize on these people who are requesting your lead magnet. And then a few huge mistakes to avoid. Wrong targeting. You want to make sure that your resources that is super specific to your ICP and your actual buyers. If you're an email marketing agency, you don't want to be giving away a free guide on how to go viral on LinkedIn. That sounds basic, but you'd be surprised. You want to be super specific with what you're giving away for free. Make sure it's something that your ICP could actually use and benefit from, because that's the only way this works. If there's no perceived value there with your audience, no one's going to want it, and no one's going to comment. It's not going to go viral. It's not going to get a bunch of likes. Second is a weak backend. Not asking a qualifying question is a huge leak. The fact, if you could have a post go mega viral, send all your DMs, and if you're not asking this question, you'll miss out on tens of booked calls. I've seen it happen many times. This one qualifying question will book you so many calls you wouldn't understand, because people are willing to answer this once they've gotten free value from. They're actually more than willing. Because, like I said, if it's actually valuable, they're very happy with you. They're inviting you've lowered their guard, and they'd be more than happy to work with you a lot of times. No real value. Once again, a lot of people will just put out fluff. They'll just put together a resource in 5 minutes and with no value, and they'll just throw it on their LinkedIn. And that just, once again, people can see through it. If there's no perceived value there, no one's going to want it. No one's going to comment. So make sure your resource is actually valuable. My rule of thumb is make sure it's worth at least $100. Someone should be able to pay for it if you weren't giving it away for free. But yeah. So the recap of all this, inbound, first of all, don't rely on it. It's not enough. And then outbound alone is a grind. You have to combine both of them, content and DMs. Don't rely on just post. You can't just post and then get leads, especially when you're first starting out. Make sure you're using DMs. Don't just think, oh, I'll go viral and get a bunch of leads on LinkedIn. Make sure you're utilizing your DMs. And then if you did want to really go viral with your content, lead magnets are the surefire way to go there. Because once again, it feeds the algorithm with all the comments and whatnot. It's the most predictable way to do it. And then leveraging your backend flow correctly will go very far in that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. If you want to start booking 5 to 15 calls a month on LinkedIn and Twitter for your B2B offer, hit the link in my bio. We'll book a chat and see if you're fit for it. But yeah, in the meantime, have a good one. Appreciate you watching this. Cheers.